Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. I'm Rachel, about to drink some coffee. What else do we got? We've got books, and we've actually got some rain coming in, so I am able to hear the thunder that's outside of my windows. I'm not sure if you guys are, but I do have like an ambient sound going, so you probably will hear little peals of thunder just from that. Um, Anyway, we are going to dive straight into the book today called Below the Grand Hotel by Kat Scully. Now, this book's expected to be released on May 6th of 2025. And let us dive it is approximately 290 pages in paperback. Yeah, about 250 in ebook that I had on my NetGalley account. And honestly, it was kind of let me go ahead and start off by saying it was about 3.75 stars in my personal thoughts. Pretty good. Probably could have used a little bit of tweaking to kind of probably bump up the score for me. Now, when I do review this on NetGalley, or not NetGalley, but Goodreads and NetGalley, both I should say, I probably will go ahead and round it up to 4. I mean, 3.75 is right around at that, so might as well round it up to 4. But very interesting premise, and I was, like I said, I was intrigued. Now, the characters themselves are not super likable, but let's dive into why I'm giving it the score I did and why I'm reviewing it, actually. The Great Gatsby meets Hellraiser in this 1920s horror novel of glitz, glamour, and demons. So there you go, right there. That was what I read when I picked this up on NetGalley, and I was like, okay, let's go with it. Let's see what we've got. Mabel Rose Dixon will do anything to become a Ziegfeld girl, including picking the pockets of many wealthy NYC elite to fund her way to stardom. When she picks the wrong pocket, Mabel loses her soul to a hotel run by demons and tumbles into the world of the Grand Hotel, a place where any artist can make it big. Mabel's greatest wish is to be famous. Mabel's greatest wish is to be famous is granted. Every night she performs as the starring act to a crowded theater and finds she's never without patrons. But Mabel quickly learns that losing her soul to get everything she ever wanted comes at a much steeper price than what she bargained for. She must steal her soul back before the grand annual May Eve ball or become a demon herself forever. With the stylish Art Deco design and beautiful illustrations by the author, this stunning debut novel by renowned New England artist Kat Scully is a crown jewel for the dark Gothic horror lovers collection. Welcome to Grand Hotel. We hope you enjoy your stay. Now, it does fall into the realms of fantasy, Gothic, horror, paranormal. It says historical, which I guess just means that because it was kind of set in the 1920s, that's where it's kind of nodding towards the histories of that time. Like, I'm guessing like the Flapper Girls and stuff. But I found this book to be fascinating. And I guess one of the reasons why was because the characters, like I said, were not very likable. Like, I really did not care if Mabel ever got her soul back. I was honestly not committed to that. Like, I guess everybody else, I was kind of like, there was like a bellhop that I think met his end, and there's a couple other people who like aren't 100, like they're not demons, but they're like, I don't know, they're on the edge. And I say on the edge because like a lot of people haven't like crossed that line yet. They haven't been there long enough. And the summary does say that, she has a certain deadline that she's got to make in order to get like supposedly get her soul back. That is the bargain that she thinks she's made, is that if she wears this necklace, feeds its souls, then supposedly she will be released of her bargain. I don't know. I don't think demons make very good deals in my personal thoughts and opinions, so I do think that she finds herself in a bit of a pickle. So we first meet Mabel as she's sitting in a cafe across the street from this really fancy hotel. And as you can tell by the cover, it's got some very Art Deco designs. Some buildings in Chicago remind me of this. I think it's the Carbon and Carbide building downtown near Michigan Avenue. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like a sleek black building, but with the Art Deco like accents. It's gorgeous. Last time I went there, though, it's been a couple years. It was I think it was under renovation on the inside, but I'm certainly hope they don't touch the outside other than to shine it up, because it is a gorgeous building. But that's kind of like, that's the building I pictured based on the cover and kind of this this grandiose sort of description of the hotel. Now, I've not been to New York to really have a comparison in the New York skyline. So Chicago tends to be my city of comparing. But anyway, so Mabel, she has already been turned down to be a Ziegfeld girl. And I don't really know what a Ziegfeld girl is. I probably really should Google that. But it does seem that maybe they're like dancers or performers or something of that nature. And that's what she wants to be. She wants to be famous. She came from Atlanta and moved up to New York, really picking pockets in order to try to set some money aside and maybe buy her way into being a Ziegfeld girl. And supposedly one of the other girls who had been told no was able to buy her way in by procuring some very fancy sort of jewelry that Mr. Ziegfeld may be able to use in lieu of maybe a bribe to be one of the dancers. So that's what Mabel is kind of working on doing. And she sees a couple getting out of a cab that the woman is really luxurious and like in this green silk. And the man looks a little star-eyed and a little bit like kind of zoned out a little bit, at least according to what it sounds like. And Mabel's like, that's them. That's who I'm going to target. So plus she sees that the woman is wearing this like yellow diamond necklace with pearls. So she's like, I'm going to get that necklace. Going to get it. Going to take it to Ziegfeld and he's going to make me one of his stars. It's going to be fantastic. So again, there's not a lot about Mabel that I'm just like really rooting for here. I don't know if I was supposed to think of her as this small town girl trying to make it big, because there was not much about her character that I was just rooting for with regard. Like, I honestly didn't even care if she got her soul back at certain points. But again, found the story fascinating because of all the demons throughout this hotel. Anyway, she goes into the hotel. She's milling about. Like, I guess the hotel manager, he sees her and he's like, I don't know. I know everybody in this hotel and I don't think you're one of them. And she's like, oh, no. I'm just looking for my friends. And that's when the woman and man come kind of almost to her rescue. And they're like, oh, we're going to have dinner in our room. You can bring it up. And so Mabel just goes along with them up to their room. I don't know, but for me, that was a little curious. This couple, who of course didn't know who she was, has now invited a stranger up to their room. And I don't know, maybe you have an imagination too, maybe you don't, maybe you just think in card games and drinks, sure. However, things just don't turn out incredibly well for Mabel. And so she more or less gets caught trying to steal this necklace. Well, now, in order to save her life, because she was caught trying to steal this necklace, she must make a deal with the devil, or a demon, so to speak, that she will do whatever he pretty much says. Well, I mean, he gives her more or less the outline of the terms she's supposed to follow. And I say more or less because I think demons are probably very notorious for leaving out things that they probably should mention. One of those things mentioned that probably should have been mentioned was, and I do think he actually says it and she just kind of glosses over it, but I think she's not supposed to leave the Grand Hotel, but can't leave the Grand Hotel. She kind of has agreed to give her soul away in order to save her life. She has pretty much agreed that she will not step foot outside of the Grand Hotel unless she wants to forfeit whatever life is remaining to her. And for it being a horror book, there is a bit of lightheartedness and levity to it. It's not as heavy as maybe a horror book should be. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a lady who tries to hand over a heart in a brown paper bag. It might be a white paper bag, but still, she tries to hand over a heart in a white bag to to Mabel. And Mabel's like, I don't think I want to have anything to do with that. I don't know if you're crazy. I don't know if that's really what you think it is, but I'm going to go somewhere else. And I will say the author does a fantastic job of creating imagery for the mind to just go wild with. Like, it just sounds so incredibly opulent in different ways. Now, personally, I do think, just kind of diving into some of my, because like I said, I wasn't really a fan of the characters. I thought it did drag a little bit. Felt like we probably could have done a little bit more to build maybe some action, some intrigue, that sort of thing. I don't know. You would just have to tell me what you thought. I kind of wish I had been able to find an audiobook for this. I do wonder how that would have played out versus reading it on my e-reader. Again, because it's only like 250 pages, I read it in about 2 settings. Kind of started it last night, finished it this morning. Not heavy with regards to like a lingering feeling, but still pretty good descent into kind of this hellacious landscape and in my personal thoughts and opinion, I have lived in LA. I have had an apartment near the corner of Melrose and Vine, and have not lived an LA life, but have been exposed significantly to the LA life by being a resident there for several years. And this hotel has the same level of facade and fake front that LA has, and that's my personal thoughts. For me, LA felt very fake, disingenuine, and like everything was meant to be pretty on the surface until you actually dug in just a little bit, scratched the paint, and you started seeing what lies underneath. That's what you get with the Grand Hotel and its inhabitants. So don't scratch too hard, otherwise you're really going to see the decay and rot that has been occurring in this hotel. And I'm very curious as to how the city of New York is able to cope with the fact that this seems to exist in its city without anybody really batting an eye. I don't know if normal people just don't go to this hotel. Not really sure. But that's just my thinking on this. Again, you do have that very Gatsby-like feeling. But I think without giving too many more spoilers or details, I am going to leave it there. It's not that long of a book, so I think talking about it too much is really going to start kind of uncovering some of those layers I'm trying to keep mysterious. But I do want to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you have not liked and subscribed already, then I certainly hope you will. And thank you for joining me on this journey. I will see you all on the next page. I hope you have a great one.